Hi, guys,
Hi,
and
everyone.
welcome back to One Couple
Two cultures.
and episode.
7.
Yes, wow, not bad.
Fun.
Not bad, 7. Today, we're going to be talking about culture shocks. So, the culture shocks that I had moving to the U.S.
The culture shocks I had living with you in Germany for a couple
Yes,
months.
so there's quite a bit going on.
There's
I
a
feel
lot.
like might be a two-parter because
so.
there were a lot of culture shocks and a lot of
Yeah.
fun stories that we had trying to figure out how to live in this, new country.
Yeah.
And why don't you start us off?
Okay. I think my biggest culture shock when I went to Germany for the first time, I think Europe in general, was that there are no borders.
Yes, I remember that.
I could not fathom the thought of being like, what do you mean we're gonna drive to Austria? That was the first time I crossed the border.
Yes.
From Germany.
We went skiing with my family.
Yeah, we went skiing.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it was only like a 3-hour drive. A 3-hour drive in LA will get you someplace still in California.
Still in LA.
Still in
probably.
LA. But no, it was like a 3-hour drive to Austria, which was crazy to me. And I'm just like, wait, we are now in a different country? What?
I know.
It
It mind
was-
blew you. And later on, when we took a road trip to Italy.
Yeah, we took a road trip to Italy during COVID, which was the greatest thing ever because it was no one on the streets, and we're like, well, great, let's just go. And we really just drove from Germany into Switzerland into Italy, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. It was so stupid. I really
I had a lot of fun on that road trip because you're like, what do you mean we're in Switzerland? I'm like, yeah. But when did we pass the border? I'm like,
Yeah.
we just passed it. We just drove by. What? I didn't have to get my passport out or anything. I'm like,
Nothing. I didn't need a passport.
you are truly an American.
I really felt like an American.
But I get it. I get it, though. It is mind-blowing at first, where it's just like, because, obviously Europe is made up of a lot of different countries, but it
Yeah.
seems more like one country in
Yeah.
the sense that you don't have to show your passport. You don't have to show anything. You just drive
No.
through.
And I couldn't I guess you told me that. You had told me that many times where it's like, no, you just drive through and you don't need to show anything. It's not really a border. It's just like a cross. I don't even like a bridge, basically.
It's one thing to know it, and it's the other thing to see it
Exactly.
and experience it
Exactly.
with your own eyes and
Exactly.
with yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was really, it was so interesting to me. It's like, and because I looked at it on your phone, to me, it was really interesting because I grabbed your phone. Well, the second we crossed from Germany into Switzerland, it was like instantly your phone switched from like German carrier,
the network carrier.
the carrier, to a Switzerland carrier, and I'm like, wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
And it was like, welcome to Switzerland, like
Yeah.
fast.
And that's one thing I personally love about Europe. I miss about Europe is
I can understand
that also vacations and everything can be so easy because you can just take a road trip to
Yeah.
the Netherlands, to France, to Austria, to
Yeah.
Switzerland, and it's all like within reach, especially if you live in the south of Germany like I do. It's all within like 2-3 hours. You can be there. Netherlands is a little longer, but
Netherlands is far.
a lot of
Yeah.
them you can be there within a couple of hours, and that's just a different country, which feels
Yeah.
like a vacation. So it makes for possibly cheaper vacation possibilities in
Fair.
a different country with a different language,
Yeah.
which still makes you, experience new cultures and everything.
Yeah, and I feel like because Europe is so condensed into so many countries, people in the US don't really get the chance to experience that because the US is so big that you just drive through state to state.
Yeah.
It's
And I mean, there are cultural differences from state to state, but obviously
sure.
not as much. And
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
obviously still a difference.
Exactly. Well, what about you? What's one that you moved here to the US?
I think my first culture shock happened, in my everyday life, and it had to do with the tipping culture. And
Oh.
because I was proud of myself that I was good enough that I knew tipping in restaurants and everything.
Yeah.
I knew there was like this. You tip a lot more here than you do in Germany. I have, uncles or aunts or family friends who count out the cents to the full dollar
Oh
of
my
the tip
God.
in Germany and Europe. And, that's what they do. Which also, I'm from the south of Germany. It's like they're stingy there with money. So
Are they?
That's like the stereotypical thing that they do.
Okay.
Swabians are stingy with money. That's what they say. But anyway, so I knew that, so restaurants, I knew you give like 15-20%, depending on the service and whatever. So you're more nicer with it. Let's put it that way. Also because they don't get as much money. They don't have like a livable wage. So they basically live off of tips.
Exactly.
So, that I knew. So I was happy about that.
Oh, look at you.
Boy, thank you. So cultured. But then I had a rude awakening when, I met you already at that time. And I went to the hairdresser for the first time. I got my hair cut.
Oh, yeah.
And I came out and I was like, oh, it was great. I even left them a tip. And you were like, oh, yeah, well, how much did you give? I'm like, $1. And,
I know.
and you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot, right? Because in Germany, they have like a jar. So you're not expected to necessarily even tip at all.
Yeah.
They have like often like at hairdressers, I don't know if this has changed now, but when I was growing up there, they had a jar and you can put like, it was mainly even made for coins. So it could be max €2. A lot of people were like 50 cents or something. So I came out, I'm like, $1. I'm like, I felt nice. I felt good about myself. You're like, $1. Get the freak back in there and give them a proper tip. And I'm like, what do you mean? I gave a proper tip. And he's like, they're going to be so disappointed. They're going to be so mad at you. Go back in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I was so scared. You were yelling at me. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I literally went back in there. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it wasn't an appropriate tip. I'm so sorry. And they were like, oh, you good? And I'm like, I could see it in their eyes. I was not good. I was not good at all.
You're not good for tipping. I'm like, you can just keep your $1 at that point.
I was not good at all.
No.
But yeah, it worked out fine. I went back in there, gave a nice tip, and now I know to give a nice tip.
Yeah, I feel like tipping it's especially coming from like a country like Germany where that's not a thing, especially at hairdressers. I can understand the confusion where it's like, at restaurants you understand because at restaurants like everyone talks about it, but no one really talks about the other services where you do tip.
Yeah, it's much more like the whole service industry in the US is much more, they tip more.
Yeah.
It's much more like also because they live more off of tips.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, and that's just widely known in the US, but for me, that's not known. I'm like, okay, like, I don't know. I'm like, here you go.
Here's $1. I was, especially because I was someone that worked in the hair industry for a while and I lived off of tips. So I'm just like,
you'd have given me the massive side
I remember people used to give me $1 and I'm like, you can just keep your $1. Like I really like one time I literally got $1 and like 25 cents, like in the quarters. I'm like, does anyone want it? I don't like.
Oh man.
That's really funny.
What is your next one? Let's move away from me.
My second one, and I remember this vividly, when you told me there are no speed limits in Germany.
Well, yeah, you experienced it yourself too.
I did experience. I got the chance to drive, and do you know how happy? Okay.
Hold on.
All
right.
Okay, hold on. There is literally in certain parts of the highway, the Autobahn, there is no speed limit, and there's.
I'm glad you already got that right because a lot of people think on every.
No,
highway, there's no speed limit. So let's get that straight. That is not the case.
No, it's not.
If you think that. It's literally just periods off certain highways.
Exactly.
That are very straight and, people there, you can get it.
Exactly. And I was like, well, what do you mean there's no speed? Like,
you're
like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I could be driving like 100 miles an hour and no one's going to stop me.
That's where you're going, 100 miles?
Yeah, because it's really fast in the U.S. No, but in Germany, it's slow. Like 100 miles, I feel like it's not fast.
100 miles is not slow.
It's not fast, but it's not slow. It's somewhere like, it's like a cruising, like, I don't know, 65 over here.
Yeah,
that
is true.
The comparable.
Let's say the average speed that people go on the German Autobahn is
100.
A lot. I don't know if I would say 100.
I think so.
It is like a lot of people drive 130, 140 kilometers.
Kilometers, yeah.
Kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that is like not, you see my mom driving and that's not excessive.
No,
That's just normal.
No, it is normal.
That's the difference though. You feel comfortable.
You do feel, okay. I didn't really get it because, so obviously when you're in the car and you're seeing someone driving, you're just like, oh, how fast are you going? And you don't feel like you're going that fast. And then I got the chance to experience it because your dad had gotten an automatic car. And so I was like, can I drive? He was like, yeah, sure, drive.
You were so excited.
I was so excited to go. That's really fast. And so, yeah, when I drove for the first, I don't know where we went, that, I just so happened we were on that Autobahn to drive with no speed limit. I was like, I thought I would go so fast.
That's when I discovered Sabrina was all talk. She was like, I'm going to go so fast. Every time I'm going to go so fast. She did not go so fast.
No, I did not go fast.
She went like the normal cruising speed of Germans on the Autobahn. And she was like, but I'm going so fast. I can't go faster. It was so fun.
I was so excited though. Because I guess it's just the thought of thinking like, I don't have a speed limit.
Yeah.
That's the thought. And it's like, you don't have to worry about a cop stopping you. You don't have to worry about, but you do have to learn the rules of German roads.
Yes.
Because you're not allowed to pass on the right.
Yes.
You're only allowed to pass on the left. And if you pass on the right, you can get a massive ticket.
It's that, and it's like
a safety thing.
Often we have 2 lanes. So like if you're used to LA highways with like 6 lanes, that's excessive. We have 2 or 3 lanes on the highway.
Granted, it is excessive, yeah.
And if you drive slow, and slow means 120 kilometers per hour, so like the speed limit.
The speed limit.
On normal, you stay to the right. If you are on the left lane and you're driving that slow, you're getting in trouble. People are driving really close to you. They're going to flash you because you got to get out of the way. So if you're on the left lane, you're there to overtake, or you're there because you're driving really, really fast. Mm-hmm. That's it. Otherwise, get to the right. Yeah. That's my one, advice to people who come to Germany for the first time and drive.
It's really interesting because I never really know. You had told me about it. I didn't experience it until we went to Germany, where it's like people come right behind you, and if you're not moving out of the way, they're literally flashing you. Yeah. They don't honk, but they will flash you. Yeah. And like excessive amounts too, until you like get to the right.
Yeah. So you learn when you drive there longer. It's just like you literally overtake, you get to the right, unless you're driving fast.
Unless you're
driving, you're fast, 130.
I was so scared. I'm like, I'm gonna get to the right.
You're like, okay, I'm getting back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I got a little more used to it now. I can drive like 160.
Yeah. See, look at you.
See, it's getting better.
But that's where you also see, like, even though you have no speed limit, except for certain few, you don't drive super excessively fast, because that's what people think. Everybody's just driving super fast. No, we're driving faster, noticed. But also the roads are much better. So it's like you don't feel that fast.
No, you don't.
Because it's still a smooth ride. I'm driving like 55 here on the highway, and I'm like, I feel scared going faster because it's like the bumpiest ride ever.
I know.
But still, the first time I came here and I had to drive 50 or 55, which, to be fair, in LA, nobody really drives.
No, but that's not the speed. I think it's like 60.
People drive 60 or 70, but even there, I was like, sometimes at night when it's free, I'm like, why do I need to drive this damn slow?
It's true. I don't drive that slow.
No,
not at night.
Not a lot of people do in LA. In New York, where you're from, they have to. There are more cops on the highway.
In New York, cops will hide to give you a ticket if you're going fast.
They're sneaky.
They are sneaky, especially because New York has a lot more trees. And so where we are, it's like they hide in the trees. They'll go and give you a ticket.
All right. That was your second one, right?
Yeah.
Let's get to my second. We might only have time for 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I have so many.
We definitely have to do a second part and maybe try to run through them a little faster, because the driving took up a lot of time.
I feel like driving you can talk about quite often, because for me, going to Germany, being able to, I don't know, the whole driving experience was just really interesting. That might be a whole
episode on itself by itself.
Probably. I have so much to talk about.
One thing that, for me, coming from Germany, going to the US, also was a culture shock, is the amount that people take medicine and antibiotics for the stupidest stuff. It's like the go-to response of an American, if I'm feeling bad, is just take an Advil.
Yeah, just take an Advil.
Why? But I go to you or a friend's house. I'm like, I have a little bit of a headache. Take an Advil. No, drink some water. How about that?
Yeah, but what if water doesn't solve your problems?
Water solves like 90% of your problems.
Not always.
90% of your
Not
problems.
Always.
Especially yours, because you never drink enough. It's like, come on. And it's like, if you go to Germany and you have a headache, and people could be like, oh, did you drink enough today? Maybe were you too much in the sun? Were you this? Nobody's going to tell you pop an Advil.
Well, you know what pisses me off the most with you is that you feel sick and you have a cold. And I know that Tylenol, which doesn't
That
have
cold is just a way for your body to cleanse himself.
Yeah, but you know what?
Get
You don't
over
have
the
to
cold.
feel like crap the whole time. No, no.
That's how your immune system resets itself. If you
Screw
take
that.
Tylenol or something, you're just like going to blast your body with whatever.
But just take a Tylenol.
No, hell no.
If you have a fever, you're gonna let your fever play out.
Fever is a different story, but sometimes
No,
even that you got to let it
hold
play
on
out.
a second. I was gonna say, you, mister, do not ever let me give you a freaking Tylenol when you have a fever.
All right, this is proof of this entire culture shock thing, because it's literally like in Germany, the go-to thing is not to take medicine. You know, you take medicine as a last resort if you really, really need it. Otherwise, you let your body handle it. That's literally how it is. That's literally how it is. And here, it's like everybody recommends to just take medicine right away.
Yeah, but you refuse to even go to the doctor when you're actually really
For what?
heavily sick.
For what?
You almost broke your ankle, and I forced you to go to the
My
doctor.
ankle was swollen. After it was swollen for too long, I went to the doctor. But I'm gonna.
It took a month for you to go to the doctor for your ankle to be swollen.
How long do you think it takes for an ankle to heal? See, your body is a miracle. It heals all by itself.
I hate you sometimes.
That's the big culture shock. It's like run to the doctor for everything. Take
Yeah.
medicine for everything. Calm down. Your body is fine. It can heal
There's
itself.
doctors for a reason.
You can drink more water so that you don't get a headache.
All right.
There's a lot of other solutions today. So that was definitely a huge culture shock for me. Everything was just like, take a Tylenol, take an Advil, take this. It's like you think those are vitamins, but the amount that people just swallow
I
them.
feel like we should take more vitamins at this point.
This is not vitamins. Those are medicine. It's like, come on.
That's really funny.
They use them like sweets. It's like they have them always in their handbag or their pocket, and it's just
Yeah,
like
because God
it's like my
forbid you have
grandma
a
having
headache.
mints. They have Tylenol and Advil. It's like, ooh,
You should look at my mom's purse.
what is going on?
She has a lot of Advil and Tylenol.
That is not right. That is just not right. I think our time is over.
I think our time is done.
Well,
wow.
this was a really fun episode.
I loved this.
I
I
love
think
this.
we're gonna jump
We're gonna
into
do
a part two.
So definitely tell us your culture shocks if you went to Germany or the U.S. or a different country, or what we missed, or if there's maybe more, or if you have an addendum to something we said, or if you ever drove on the German Autobahn and have an experience to share, please do so. So thank you
There's
so
a lot
much.
of oars.
There's a lot of oars and butts, whatever. Well, thank you very much for listening
Thank you guys.
to episode 7, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.